Daniel Dubois versus Fabio Wardley is one of those fights where you cannot keep your eyes off of it, because at every single moment in that fight, anything can happen. And these are two heavyweight guys. Both are fundamentally not the best boxers on the planet. One is better than the other in terms of some boxing IQ and boxing skills, but the difference is not so much. The other has got heart, the ability and the willingness to get stuck in. The other has been questioned about his heart, his ability and his resilience in the ring. But things have gotten heated between these guys, and Daniel Dubois has got a lot to say about what he's going to do with Fabio Wardley. Let's have a listen to what Dubois said.
Yeah, if that's what the bookies want to make me, that's perfect for me. I love being a underdog back against the wall, but that's where I perform my best. You're going to see the best of me, and I'm going to go out there and knock him out and, prove to the world that I'm the best.
Look, Daniel Dubois is not lying when he says the things that he says during fight week and during press conferences. I really believe that Dubois believes himself that he's going to go there and he's going to destroy Fabio Wardley. He said he's going to knock him out. He said that, he knows Fabio Wardley very well, and that he's got the style and the ability to destroy Fabio Wardley and knock him out and get him out of there and become a 2-time heavyweight world champion. I believe Daniel Dubois believes himself that he'll be able to do that. Now, whether that is, realistically possible because of Daniel Dubois' ability and his mental strength, that is yet to be seen. But Dubois, I think, mentally knows what he says and believes what he says. And I think that is what gets him into these fights where, he can have the ability to compete with these guys. Because, I've had criticism about Dubois' mentality and his resilience when it comes to staying in fights and picking himself up from knockouts and coming back. But one thing that I can't take away from Dubois is that he has this belief to want to get in the ring and test himself against the best in the division. Now, if he comes up short, we see that. But the willingness, right? He doesn't duck. Dubois, don't duck people if his team and people around him are not wanting him to take those opportunities. I think Daniel Dubois, as a fighter, would fight anyone. But I think his team are the people that pick and chooses who he should fight. For example, that Joseph Parker fight, right? That is a fight that I believe in my heart that Daniel Dubois wants to take that fight. Dubois would have fought Joseph Parker, but I think his team prevented him from fighting Joseph Parker. So I believe it when Daniel Dubois says, I want to go in there and I want to destroy this person. I want to, knock this person out. I think he believes that. And that's the courage that he has before fights. And that is something that is really good on his part, because that is the mentality that all heavyweights probably need to be able to get in the ring. Daniel Dubois have that. And some heavyweights don't have that. Let's be honest. Some heavyweights don't have the courage to get in there with all heavyweights. They want to pick and choose. I think Daniel Dubois is a little bit different, and I think he believes what he said. But Fabio Wardley, on the other hand, has talked about the sparring session. And this is what Fabio Wardley had to say about sparring Daniel Dubois.
You two and him sparred before?
Yeah, a long time ago. When I was first starting out, I don't even know if I'd had my debut or something by then. Maybe the 1 or 2 fights professionally. But yeah, we sparred a long time ago.
How'd it go?
He got the better of me. Yeah, speaking
A lot of people admit that.
Hey?
A lot of people would openly admit that.
I don't care. I'm not going to take no stock in something that happened 8+ years ago when I'd been late. I'd laced up a pair of gloves for a total of probably 3 years, and Daniel had been boxing since he was like 10 years old. If anything, it shows how much I've come on in that short space of time.
Look, Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley, stylistically, is a great fight for both fighters. Both guys have or make mistakes that each other can take advantage of. But when Daniel Dubois says that he knows Fabio Wardley, he's talking about the sparring session. He's talking about the days and the time that they spend in the gym together sparring. And Dubois believes that he knows Fabio Wardley. In fact, Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua, Dubois, reportedly had given Anthony Joshua a lot of problems in the gym, right, in sparring. And people talked about it for years, and I picked Anthony Joshua to knock out Daniel Dubois in that fight because I thought Joshua was much better than Dubois fundamentally, and Joshua hits harder. But on the night, it just showed that Dubois was the much prepared fighter mentally than Anthony Joshua, because Joshua made some silly mistakes in that fight, and he came up short. But Daniel Dubois, when he says that he knows something, that he's seen something, I believe it, because he capitalized on those sort of mistakes that Anthony Joshua did, and probably he had learned from those sparring sessions that he had with Anthony Joshua before. So this supposed sparring session between Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley, and the fact that Fabio Wardley admitted himself that Daniel Dubois had the advantage, had the upper hand in that sparring session, I believe that. And I think Daniel Dubois has learned a lot more in those sparring sessions to be able to bring it into this fight. Although, let's be honest, Fabio Wardley is not the same fighter he was 4 or 5 years ago. But I don't think that there's much difference between that fighter and now, because the only difference is that Fabio Wardley is more war hardened, is more resilient, has been in there with some really good fighters, and has tested himself against the likes of Joseph Parker. So experience is definitely on the side of Fabio Wardley. But I think stylistically, if you look at it, Daniel Dubois has more advantages in this fight than Fabio Wardley, because Dubois, I think, has the better jab. Dubois, I think, hits as hard or maybe harder than Fabio Wardley. And Dubois, although I think he's got the issue of mentality of whether he wants to get up and fight again, Dubois is not scared to throw hands. Dubois is not scared to let his hands go. Dubois is not scared to get stuck in. And look, Fabio Wardley has not tasted defeat yet, right? When things have got him really difficult in a fight, he's always come up trumps. He's always found a way how to, get advantage in the fight. When he's losing a fight, he finds a way to knock his opponent out or stop his opponent. We've seen that. And that's a great attribute. But I think Daniel Dubois presents a whole different sort of problems for Fabio Wardley, because Dubois is, he's a warrior. He will get stuck in. He's not scared. Daniel Dubois will throw hands. Daniel Dubois hits hard. Dubois has got a better jab than Fabio Wardley. I think there's an unexpected outcome of this fight that a lot of people are not thinking about. And I'm going to do my final prediction when we get there during the fight week. I'm going to break this down a bit further, but I think Daniel Dubois has something that Fabio Wardley has not tasted yet. And that is something that, although Dubois looks mentally frail, he's not scared to get stuck in. He's going to go on until he's on the canvas and maybe then decide not to get up from the canvas. But before that, he's going to throw hands, and he hits hard. He's got a good jab. This is a good fight. This is going to be a good fight for the fans. And for Fabio Wardley, he has to find answers to the problems that Daniel Dubois will bring to him. Get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Daniel Dubois saying that he will destroy Fabio Wardley. All of this is based on the fact that Daniel Dubois knows Fabio Wardley, and he's had the upper hand over Fabio Wardley during sparring sessions.